Okay, so this is a short video about how to check your solutions after you've used the quadratic formula to solve a quadratic equation. So let's say you've been given this quadratic equation and you're asked to solve it for 0. Your first step is to see if you can factor it, because it's a lot easier to solve it that way. But if you tried to find the factors of -12 that added up to -2, you would find there are no such factors. Therefore, you have no choice but to use the quadratic formula. This basically tells us that when y equals 0, so when this equation is set equal to 0, that x equals -b plus or minus, because there's two solutions, the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Anyway, so to use this formula, you basically just have to find your a, b, and c up here. And so you dutifully go through that process. So the a is the coefficient in front of the x squared term, which is an invisible 1, because there's a 1 here. There's only one x squared. So a is 1. B is the coefficient in front of the x, so it's -2. And c is the constant term, so it is -12. Okay, so there's my terms that go into here. So I'm not going to show you how to go through this formula. But you plug them in, then you end up with this. After you've simplified what's underneath here, you end up with 2 plus the square root of 52 over 2, and 2 minus the square root of 52 over 2. And what does that mean? Well, it's a good idea. In fact, you're going to be asked to come up with an approximation of the values for these two roots here, this equation. So you would use your calculator. So you go over here, and it's pretty easy to do. You just go 2 plus square root of 52. Just go ahead and hit enter. So that's the numerator of the fraction. And then divide that by 2. So now I know that my first root should be about 4.6. And then you're going to evaluate the other one, and that's going to be 2 minus the square root of 52. Hit enter and divide that by 2. And then you're going to see what you get there. You get -2.6 about. So now you know that those should be the solutions somewhere, and these are irrational numbers. They're going to go on and on and on. But you should know that your two solutions should be somewhere around there. And so how do you know that you did the right, that you did this right? Because it's so easy to make a mistake. In fact, when I did this the first time, I made a mistake. I plugged the wrong number into for one of these letters here, and it's really easy to do. So you should always use your graphing calculator to check your answers, to approximate them first so that you know that you're right. And how do you do that? Well, you plug this equation into your y equals. Go into your y equals menu and just go ahead and type this thing in here, x squared minus 2x minus 12. And then we're going to hit graph and see where it crosses the x-axis. So let's graph that. And wow, check that out. You can even, if you want to zoom in more and get a closer look, you know how you can change your window. You might want to be able to zoom in a little closer. Let's change our window. We don't want to see all of those x's, so let's focus in on like -5 to down to 5. This is a good thing to do, is you can look more closely at, so there's where my graph crosses the x-axis. It's in two solutions. So this is the graph of the equation x squared minus 2x minus 12. I can bring it down even lower, by the way. You should use this. Graphing calculators are really cool. Oops, I have to use this thing in here. So go down to let's go down to negative, well, it hits at -12, and it probably goes even lower than that. I didn't check. Let's go down to -15 just so we can, oh, good. So I got the vertex in there. So now we can see this is a graph of all the solutions to x squared minus 2x minus 12. The two solutions we're interested in is when it equals 0, so when it crosses the x-axis. And it looks like our answers were correct. So remember, when we evaluated this on the calculator, we got one of our answers was about negative 2.6. Yes, that looks right. And our other answer was about 4.6. Yes, that looks good on there. And you can zoom in even closer if you want to. You can use your table too. There's other ways to approximate these solutions. But the important thing is that you should be able to estimate your solutions using your graphing calculator, because when you use the quadratic formula, it's so easy to make a mistake. And make sure you evaluate these two, evaluate the radicals. Okay, I hope you enjoyed my little video. Bye.